Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome back to my channel English with Ayesha. In today's video, I am going to tell you about precise writing. So first of all, I will tell you the objectives that I am going to explain in this topic. So the objectives are meaning of precise, definition, qualities of a good precise, and procedure of precise writing. Now we discuss them one by one. The first one is meaning of precise. First of all, I will tell you the pronunciation of this word precise. It can be pronounced as precis or precise. When we pronounce it as precis, it's spelled as Precis. And when we pronounce it as precise, it's spelled as Precise. So both pronunciations are correct, precis or precise. Now we look at that what is precis. The word precis is derived from French that means summary, and precise writing means the art of summarizing. Precis writing is one of the most useful skills you can acquire for your work, both as a student and as a professional. Precis writing involves summarizing a document to extract the maximum amount of information, then conveying this information to a reader in minimum words. Now we look at the definition of precis writing. The first definition is a precis is a clear, compact, logical summary of a passage. It preserves only the essential or important ideas of the original. Second definition is a precis may be defined as a restatement in shortened form of the main ideas and points in a piece of writing. Another definition is a precis is the gist or main theme of a passage expressed in as few words as possible. So according to these definitions, precis is a clear and logical summary of an original passage and a short form of the main ideas and the gist or main theme of a passage that is expressed in as few words as possible. It should be lucid, sufficient and full, that is including all essential points, so that anyone on reading it may be able to grasp the main points and general effects of the passage summarized. Hope the meaning of precise writing is clear to you. Now we discuss the qualities of a good precise. A good precis shows the writing skills of a person. It must have the following qualities. The first one is clarity. Clarity means getting your message across so that the receiver can understand what the writer is trying to convey. It is the basic and essential need of a precis. The ideas should be clear and understandable. There should not be any ambiguity in your writing. The writer can achieve clarity by using simple language and simple structure. If your precise is not understandable to the reader, it will lose its importance and meaning. The next quality of a good precise is correctness. Mistakes in your writings always irritate the reader. Of course, mistakes are never essential, even so there is no excuse for them. At the time of writing or composing a precis, the writer must ensure that the facts and the figures are correct, because a single mistake in structure and spelling may spoil the message. We may consider the mistakes under the following headlines. The first one is misspelled words. The second one is mistakes in figures and dates. The next one is mistakes in punctuation, and the last one is mistakes of grammar and structure. So a good precise have a quality of correctness in spelling of words, figures, speech, punctuation, grammar and structure. The next quality is objectivity. Objectivity means the ability to present or view facts uncolored by feelings, opinions, and personal bias. While making a precis, the writer should adopt an objective approach. He should not give and add his or her personal opinion and ideas in a précis. A précis should be purely a summary of the original text without any addition. The next quality is coherence. Coherence means the logical and clear interconnection of ideas in a written piece of work. A précis should be coherent. The ideas which are presented in a précis must have a logical connection and they all should be interrelated. In short, we may say that the ideas should be well knitted so that the writer may not be confused and lose his or her interest. The next quality of a good précis is conciseness. Conciseness is a desirable quality of a good précis. Conciseness means to say all that needs to be said and no more. The writer should write what is necessary and avoid writing unnecessary details. A concise piece of work conveys the message in the fewest possible words. But one point must be kept in mind that the writer should not omit some basic and essential facts to achieve conciseness. To achieve conciseness, notice the following suggestions. The first one is omitting unnecessary details. The next point is eliminate wordy experience. The next one is include only relevant material. And the last one is avoid unnecessary repetitions. So, conciseness is compulsory in a good précis. The next quality is completeness. Another striking feature of a good précis is completeness. Completeness means that the writer should include all the important facts in a précis. To make it short, he or she should not omit the important ideas. So, completeness is also very compulsory in a good précis writing. So, these are the qualities of a good précis. Now, we talk about the procedure of a précis writing. We must make up our mind from the beginning that précis writing means intensive brain work. There is no easy shortcut to summarizing a passage. To tear the heart out of a passage means concentrated thoughts, and you must be prepared for close attention and hard working. So there are some steps that we have to keep in our mind while writing a précis paragraph. These steps are reading, examine the passage, give a short title, select important points, note the length and write first draft, remodeling, revise your draft and write fair copy. These are the steps of process of précis writing. Now we discuss them one by one in detail. The first step is reading. First, read the passage through carefully, but not too slowly to get a general idea of its meaning. If one reading is not sufficient to give you this clearly, read it over again and yet again. So, reading is the first step of précis writing. The next step is examine the passage. The more you read it, the more you familiar with it become to you and the clearer will be. Its subject, what is said about that subject, what does the author mean, what is he saying about, can I put in a few words the pith of what he says? So examine the passage is very compulsory. The next step is give a short title. You are required to supply a title for your précis. This is a good stage at which to do this. Think of some words, phrase or short sentence that will sum up briefly the main subject of the passage. Sometimes this is supplied by what we may call a key sentence. This key sentence may be found at the beginning or at the end of the passage. But you will not always find such convenient key sentences in the passage you have to summarize. In their absence, you must get a clear idea of the subject from the original passage as a whole, and then sum it up in a suitable heading. The effort to find a suitable title at this stage will help you to define in your mind what exactly the subject or main theme of the passage is. The next step is select important points. Further reading is now necessary to ensure that you understand the details of the passage as well as its main purport. Take it now sentence by sentence and word by word. If the meanings of any words are not clear, look them up in a dictionary. Detailed study of this kind is necessary because a phrase, a sentence, or even a single word may be of prime importance, and the misunderstanding of it may cause you to miss the whole point of the passage. You should now be in the position to decide what parts of the passage are essential and what parts are comparatively unimportant and so can be omitted without any loss. This process of selection is not so easy as some people think. Beginners select, but they often select in a haphazard or mechanical way. It requires some practice to be able to say, this is essential to the meaning of the passage and that is only incidental and unimportant. The best guide, of course, is the subject or main theme of the passage. If you have a clear and correct idea of that, you will soon see what is important and what is unimportant. The next step is note the length and write rough draft. At this stage, it is useful to jot down your conclusions in brief notes, writing down the subject, the title, and the details which you consider essential or important. This is a better plan than underlining sentences and phrases in the original. You should now be ready to attempt the writing of the précis, but be sure of the limits within which it must be compressed. If the number of words is given you, this is easy, but if you are told to reduce the passage to say a third of its length, count the number of words in the passage and divide by 3. You may use fewer words than the number described, but in no case may you exceed the limit. It is not likely that your first attempt will be complete success. The draft will probably be too long. In fact, you may have to write out several drafts before you find how to express the gist of the passage fully within the limits set. A good deal of patience and revision will be required before you get it right. It is a good plan to write the first draft without having the actual words of the original passage before one's eyes. The next step is remodeling. The following points must be kept in mind while remodel. The first point is the precise should be all in your own words. It must not be a patchwork made up of phrases and sentences quoted from the original. The next point is the précis must be connected whole. It may be divided into sections or paragraphs according to changes in the subject matter, but these must not appear as separate notes but must be joined together in such a way as to read continuously. The next point is the précis must be complete and self-connected, that is, it must convey its message fully and clearly without requiring any reference to the original to complete its meaning. The next point is the précis must be in simple, direct grammatical and idiomatic English. And the last point is we may omit repetitions, illustrations and examples, but we change figure of speech into literal expressions, compress wordy sentences and alter phrases to words. So these are the points that we should keep in our mind while remodeling. The next stage is revision. When you have made your final draft, carefully revise it before you write out the fair copy. There are some points that we have to keep in your mind. The first point is be sure its length is within the limits prescribed. Compare it with original to see that you have included all the important points. Correct all mistakes in spelling, punctuation, grammar, and idiom. And the last point is let the language be simple and direct. The last step of Precis Writing is final draft. Write out neatly the fair copy under the title you have selected. So these are the steps of process of precise writing. Now we look at the conclusion of the process. The first point is reading of the original passage. Then we should examine or analyze the passage carefully. Then we should give a suitable title to the passage. Then select important points from the original passage. Then note the length and write down the rough draft. Then the next step is remodeling, in which we should note down that it should be in our own words, it should be complete, it should be connected whole, it must be in simple, direct and idiomatic language, and we may omit repetitions, illustrations and examples. And then we revise it, and while revising we should keep in our mind that its length is within the limits, and correct all mistakes like spelling, punctuation, grammar and idiom, and the language must be simple and direct. Then the last step is final draft, at we write the fair neat copy prefixing the title that we have chosen. So these are the steps of procedure of precise writing. Now we look at the example. There is an original passage, that is, in every country people imagine that they are the best and the cleverest and the others are not so good as they are. The Englishman thinks that he and his country are the best. The Frenchman is very proud of France and everything French. The Germans and Italians think no less of their countries, and many Indians imagine that India is in many ways the greatest country in the world. This is wrong. Everybody wants to think well of himself and his country, but really there is no person who has not got some good and some bad qualities. In the same way, there is no country which is not partly good and partly bad. We must take the good wherever we find it and try to remove the bad wherever it may be. We are, of course, most concerned with our own country, India. Unfortunately, it is in a bad way today. Many of our people are poor and unhappy. They have no joy in their lives. We have to find out how we can make them happier. We have to see what is good in our ways and customs and try to keep it. And whatever is bad, we have to throw away. If we find anything good in other countries, we should certainly take it. So, this is the original passage. Now we precise it step by step. First of all, we read it. Then we examine the passage. While we examine it, we analyze it, that what are the main theme of this passage. This passage is about the countries and their peoples and their good and bad qualities. Okay, now the second step is done. The third step is giving a suitable title, and according to me, a good suitable title of this passage is How to Make a Country Better. This is the suitable title for this passage. Now come towards the fourth stage, that is select important points. Now come towards the fourth step, that is select important points. According to me, there are some important points. The first one is that the people of every country think that they are good and others are not. But this is wrong, because good and bad people are found in every country. but we must concern with our own country, that is India, because this line shows that the writer is from India. Many people are poor and unhappy there, and there is no joy in their lives, and we should adopt good things or of other countries. That are the main points of this passage. Now come towards the fifth stage, that is note the length and write rough draft. So this passage have 220 words and we should compress it in 73 to 74 words. Now we should keep in mind the length of this passage, that it should be of 73 or 74 words. Now we write down the rough draft. So this is the rough draft of this passage. This is: people of every country think that they are good and others are not. This is wrong because every country and the people of every country has good and bad qualities. We must concern with our own country, India. Many people are poor and unhappy, and we have to make them happy by take the good and remove the bad. We should adopt good things of other countries. So this is the rough draft of this passage. Now come towards the remodeling stage. That is about the precise should be all in our own words. So I write these sentences in my own words. Then the next point in remodeling was it must be connected whole. So these sentences are already connected whole. The next point in remodeling was it must be complete and conveying its message fully and clearly. And this compressed paragraph gives complete meaning as original. And the next point is in remodeling was it must be in simple, direct and idiomatic English. And this passage, this precise passage is in very easy and simple language. And I omit the repetitions, the illustrations and the examples from the original passage. In original passage, there are many examples like Englishmen and their country and Frenchmen and French and Germans and Italians and so on. There are many illustrations and repetitions and examples that I omit in precise paragraph. So remodeling has been done. Then the next step is revision. I revise this paragraph and there is no mistake related to spelling, punctuation, grammar and idiom, and the language is clear and simple and direct. And the length of this precise paragraph is 73 words including the title words. So the length is okay. There is no mistake of spelling, punctuation, grammar, and it is giving a complete and clear and logical message as original passage. Then the next step is final draft. So this is our final draft, in which we write the title and we write the precise paragraph of that original paragraph. So that's all about my site. Hope you guys like the video. If you like the video, give a big thumbs up and share with English language seekers, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Allah Hafiz.